Thanks for watching Twilight on CRTV News. How to make it in competitive entrance examinations has been a series we started last week. Today we're having Quinta Nayah is final year student at the National Advanced School of Public Works and specialized in geotechnics, a volunteer with Model Initiative Africa. You're welcome also, madam.
Thank you, sir. It's
and
a pleasure.
We have Carlson Ngwasiri Atanga, a fourth-year electrical engineer student at Polytech Yaoundé and works also with Model Initiative Africa. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Moki.
Let's give honor to the lady. Now, I want to start with your own case. How did you know about the entrance examination into the school you graduated? You have a student at National Advanced School for Public Works. How did you write the exam and how did you succeed?
Okay, it was in 2015. By then, I schooled in the Northwest Government Bilingual High School, Fundong. I had a team of people come to my school. So by then, they were doing advertisement, talking about the different concourse which we have, competitive entrance exams which we have out there, the different opportunities like Polytechnic, the School of Medicine and Public Works and many others in the science field. So that's how I got to know about it, because there were actually people in the field to talk about it.
They came to your school in Fundong?
Yeah.
Were they sent from the various establishments, the various schools that, were they sent from ENAM, ENS and the rest?
I know. There are students who actually came out on their own to form an initiative to go down to the various schools.
Why did you choose to write the entrance examination into the National Advanced School of Public Works?
Okay, it has been my fantasy since I was young to work into construction work. Back then in secondary school, I always had this passion for mathematics and physics. So I always loved calculating, I always loved solving integrals. So the National Advanced School of Public Works was a means for me to actually be able to continue in that light.
You wrote the exams, you registered, wrote and passed the exam?
Yeah, in 2015.
From high school?
Yeah, I did.
And you had people competing with you who are from the university?
Yeah, I did.
What do you think was the winning formula?
The winning formula was I studied, and I also had some seniors who were there to help me, to guide me, to direct me, and to tell me how to go about my studies. I think that's what made me to be able to be successful in the exam.
Mr. Carlson Ngwasiri Atanga, you also what is your own story?
My own story is the same story like any other person from secondary school. The stress, the trauma, when you leave advanced level, everything becomes abstract. I'll take the case of the exam I wrote, which is Polytechnic. You have to jump from one system of education to another in the scope of like 2 weeks and brave the same exams.
From the English subsystem to the French subsystem?
Yeah, like it's basically a French subsystem of setting. So you have to do that training in 2 weeks and be at a level with people who have been doing that for the past 6 years.
I would love to know how you were informed about the exam and then...
Back in secondary school, we have this group of volunteers like we are doing today. They came down to schools, they spoke to us about the various possibilities. First of all, in life, to choose your career, and now the fields that follow your career and the schools that can accommodate you, be it here in Cameroon or for those that want to further their studies out of Cameroon.
The option you took, how many people registered for the option? How many passed in the exams?
The option I took, we had like maybe at least 8,000 registered and they took 200. 8,000
registered, they took 200?
Yeah.
How many English speakers, how many French speakers have you been known?
The year we came in, we were 32 English speakers and we had 168.
Mr. Carlson Ngwasiri, many people think that to succeed in Cameroon in those examinations, you need to pay.
No, that
you need to corrupt.
That is really false. It is nowhere true. And I'll take the case of my school. If you even have to corrupt and come to my school, you corrupt, you have to leave the school because the way of study there will send you out immediately. So you cannot even corrupt to go there.
Now, let me just get you to, did anybody contact you and ask for anything before then? No, you need to pay. No, so you studied and succeeded?
Yeah, I did. It was hard work.
We'll come back to you, Madam Quinta Nayah, student, National Advanced School of Public Works, specialized in geotechnics and volunteer. What is geotechnics? I mean, it just beats my imagination that from Ginicom, where you come from, you heard of the National Advanced School of Public Works and then decided to go and do geotechnics. How did you, have the confidence that you will do this thing and you succeed? And how did you really go about it? What advice do you also give to younger ones like you who want to write the exam?
Okay, before I went in for the exam, I had to believe in myself. Apart from that, I would really like to thank those who were really following me up, because it was thanks to their advice, thanks to the numerous encouragement that they used to give us, that really made us to draw confidence. Because generally when we were still back then in high school, we used to believe that it's only for the tough. Like if you come out from upper C and you don't have 25 points, you're going nowhere in this life. So coming out from the GCE and having the number of points less than 25, they used to encouraging us and make us understand that if we study very hard and we believe in ourselves, we are going to make it. So there was no magic formula there. So studying, not giving into distraction, as my colleague just said, focusing on the main thing, focusing on our studies, because one thing we know is that when you leave your advanced level, for you to actually be established is the rate determining step during the time when you're preparing for the exams. So if you use that period and you're joking around, you go into phone, you go into WhatsApp and all other funny things, deviances, it's not going to help you. So that time I dedicated it. I remember from the month of June to the month of September, all that time was dedicated to studies. So there was no fun, there was no outing, there was nothing that I could take for leisure. So all the time was just study-based, study-based, study-based. The little thing I could take was just to cool my head down, something that could just serve as a break for me, then I go back to my studies.
When you discuss with the younger generations who are to write this exam, what do you tell about the main problems that you have? Maybe they're not informed on the courses they have to register for. Maybe they don't even know how to go about it. Is that the situation?
Okay. I've been to the orientation field for 5 years now, and I get in contact with so many students. The main problem that I face with students is that most of them don't even know where they are heading to. Most of them. At times you see a student coming in upper seat, and the student tells you that he wants to go into the School of Mining and Petroleum Engineering, like my colleague here, and the student is not doing physics. Whereas in Cameroon, we all know that for you to get into any engineering school, you need to have a basics in physics and mathematics. So most of them, when they come at that level and they discover that they needed physics in order to get into these schools, it's like a dream has just been shattered. So they have no hope, and you don't even know how to go about to encourage them. Apart from that, we have some of them who don't actually even know how to study. Because as my colleague Carlson earlier said, the systems are very different. When you leave from the Anglophone system, you go to the Francophone system, there are two different things. The scientific terms, though it's science, it's the same formula, but the terms are not the same. So when most of them come, they are like lost. They don't know how to go about it, because first of all, they are not familiar with the atmosphere, they are not familiar with the terms, they are not familiar with the system. So I will have to inculcate them and make them to understand that everyone has gone through this and they too can make it into the different schools.
The way you speak as if everything is that easy to come. What question did they ask you when you came to write exam? Can you remember the question you were asked and how difficult or easy it was? And where the other candidates went wrong?
Okay, one of the questions I remember, it was on Newton's law of motion, where the question was what fruit gave Newton the inspiration to come up with the law of motion?
You're not asking me, you're asking talking on the TV.
Yeah, the question was what fruit gave the inspiration to Isaac Newton to come up with the Newton's laws of motion? That was it.
Please answer.
The answer is an apple.
Huh?
Yeah, an apple. An apple was what gave Isaac Newton the inspiration to come up with the Newton's laws of motion.
What is that Newton? What is the law?
Pardon? We actually have 3 laws. The first law says that an object continues at rest until an external net force is applied on it.
Mokam, please, let us end there. I am not an engineer. I didn't want to go to any National Advanced School of Public Works. Yeah, okay. Now let's come to you. Carlson Ngwasiri Tanga. What questions did they give you that day you came there, and what made you stronger? What made the other candidates weaker?
Coming from an Anglophone subsystem of education, what made me stronger was physics. It is.
The scientific language is English mostly there.
Yeah, it's physics. If I should tell anybody aspiring to come to my school from the Anglophone subsystem of education has to embrace physics as a Bible, a second Bible, you need to read it to the fullest. Because the mathematics is morely French inclined. So, and it's very difficult to assimilate everything in 2 weeks, given that this year they will not even have up to a week to prepare. And so it's always difficult. We advise students to prepare more on their physics because it is equal quota. the Francophones, they don't do the physics we do, and we don't do the mathematics we do. So, and the two papers are on equal quota. So I base myself on physics.
Where you're stronger.
Yeah.
You beat them in physics and you follow up mathematics.
I was very, very sure that no question could challenge me in physics.
So that wasn't the question that you were asked.
I don't want to take another law of physics or
no,
another
you know, you're trying to educate those who are also writing, whom you also have to encounter those
No,
things.
the paper is structured in such a way that I cannot be telling the question they asked me. So it's a whole big 45 questions to answer.
Now, there's always this aspect they call orals. When you write and you succeed, you have to go and face each other. Did you go through that? You didn't go. What about you? Did you?
No.
Okay, so it's not in your institute, it's in your career.
I think it's still in the ENS.
Okay. Now, most people think that, you know, the schools where they're training them, young candidates, you go there, you find people who have written the exams and failed several times and they're claiming to be training others. Have you noticed that in the schools where they're teaching in town? That's the reason why on bringing you here, I had to find out the profile of the people who are bringing here to know that they're really actually qualified and so on. Can they really teach people to succeed, to get in those schools? Those people that have written themselves and failed and we see them teaching?
Please, can you reformulate the question? No, you continue.
You understood, Cassie?
Yeah, I understood the question. It is true, if you go around town, just at the street of Mbaladu here, you meet like 100 groups of preparations into various institutions. But if you have to go into the quality of the personnel who are to dispense the lessons, they are not from this institution. So they don't know anything about the syllabus of this school. They don't, because most schools, the setting of the exams come from mostly level 1s, what they do in level 1 and level 2. That's what they give to those that are aspiring to join these schools. And so those are best placed to give these lessons are the students of those various institutions of level 1s and level 2 that they want to give the institution those lessons. So if I have to advise anybody out there that wants to join any of this institution, I want to join any of the group, I will tell the person to follow people with the quality teachers and who have been giving the better results over the year.
Now, when we talk of the challenges, another one is being a woman, being a lady. Did it play to your disfavor somehow? Did you feel that this thing can only be for men? Or that there are so many male candidates more than female candidates?
Yeah. Generally, especially in the field in which I am, because I deal with the soil, I deal with roads, and when generally you go out and you tell somebody that you are into geotechnics, you are into road construction, they will look at you and they'll be like, this work is not for ladies. So how do you think you are going to cope in this? Ladies have not been able to cope in it. So generally we have this problem of gender, this gender problem, but we know that we are stronger than that. So though the difficulties, the challenges will present themselves, we know that we are going to overcome them.
Quinta Nayah, how many girls are there in your establishment? I mean, who did the same course with you as compared to with the boys?
If I want to give you in terms of percentages, it should be 25% of ladies compared to me.
And when you go out on the field with them, you just said it, that you are going to the roads, they're going to study the rocks and the topography of the soil and so on. How do you look like? I think the men think that they are more powerful, more solid. I mean, to do those type of jobs.
Generally, it's a case because they see us as a weaker vessel, but we always try to make them understand that we are not that.
Can you share an experience you had with them that you think was not good enough?
We went to an internship in Sangmelima with a company, Arab Contractors, and it was a road construction at the Mengon Sangmelima Road. So we went there as interns, and in the project in which we went, were 4 ladies from the civil engineering department and 1 male. And in all the work field were the only ladies. So going to the field, working under the sun, and even with the people working there, those working in the laboratory, they will look at us and ask us that, are we really sure that we are going to cope with this work? Because this work entails that you be in the bush all the time. It entails that you be in the bush all the time, you leave your family, you leave all the other things behind. But we told them that it's not about that, it's about the passion you have for the job. So if we find ourselves with the knowledge that we have, if we see that we will be able to serve our communities, then so be it.
And before going for the exam, you knew that you would go to the field and face these challenges?
Yeah, I did, because I already had some excerpts from my female friends who were already into the field.
Welcome, Quinta Nayah. We said that when English speakers are going to write, most of the times they just fight that fear that they're going to have difficulties with the French language. What advice would you be giving them when those who are just leaving Bamenda, Boya, Kumbu, Fundong, Jinicom, and the rest, the to come and write? What advice would you be giving as far as the other language, the other official language is concerned?
There is no need to fear actually, because all the questions are translated, and science will always remain science. So since we are in the scientific domain, the questions and the answers, the suggestions for the answers are always translated, and mostly they are figures. So there's really no big challenge about it.
Is it the same thing as Polytechnic, National Polytechnic?
Yeah, there's no big difference. I always tell my junior ones that you come to Polytechnic to study engineering in French, not to study French. So it will never be a problem to them.
Now, do you also feel at times, I mean, there's that fear also what they call regional balance. Did you see any form of regional balance coming to some sort of disturb the way the exams was written, or making some of the candidates who would have succeeded to go back home?
I will not say much into that, but from the little I know, regional balance goes to every region in Cameroon, because if we want to go by order of merit, we know the West region will always top in every exam, so regional balance go apply.
The West region tops?
Yeah, they are the most brilliant. Statistics shows it's not about any other thing. They are really brilliant. If we are going with merits, they always top. So regional balance applies to all regions. It's not only specific to Anglophones.
Yes, madam.
My advice to people who think that it's difficult is that failure, first of all, begins with the mind. If you are not able to convince yourself or to tell yourself they are good for it, that you can make it, then you have already failed in advance.